What's up? It's your boy, Let Us Pray. Hope you're having a blessed and prosperous day, man. I'm here with this video because there's just been so much surrounding really racism in light of some of these horrible events that have been videotaped. These unarmed black men getting killed by other men, whether they be officers or neighborhood watchmen, whatever the case may be. Sparks really an outcry for change, social injustice, the relationship between the black community and law enforcement, and it's just a lot, man. It's a lot to intake. It makes you think about the overall topic of racism, subject of racism. So I just wanted to share a story about my first time being introduced to racism. Sure, you've heard stories, you watch movies, you watch Roots, we watch Glory, and we watched that in middle school or high school, I'm not sure. But, stories about slaves being beaten and whipped, stories about the slaves that were allowed to fight in the Civil War, stories about black people not being able to vote, reading in textbooks about things that happen, but it's another thing entirely to experience it yourself. So this one particular time, it was actually at a basketball game. We were playing against a well-known school, Saratoga High School. Very, kind of rich neighborhood. I went to a school that was actually, in a pretty decent neighborhood as well. We had a handful of black players, and we were trying to turn the culture around in the basketball program. The program had really been lacking for the past few years or so, but we were trying to turn things around. I was a sophomore playing on the varsity at that time, and we were having a really good season. We were gelling well. Most of us knew each other for a pretty long time. On the team we had Johnny Gray, Jamar Barnett, Fred Shepard. Who else do we have, man? I don't want to, but those were the black players anyway. Oh, Anthony Butler. No, was it Anthony Butler on the team? I think it was just on JV. I think that was that was my freshman year. But regardless, shout out to Anthony Butler, man. But yeah, I think it was Johnny Gray, Fred Shepard, Jamar Barnett, myself. I think, was there another? I don't think so. I don't think we had another black player on there. And if I'm missing out on someone who was on there, my apologies. But we were playing this particular game at Saratoga High School. It was on a Friday night. And, Gunn had kind of been the laughingstock of the league before then. I think they were winless in league. They had gotten beat pretty bad. I think one team had even scored 100 points on them. And Gunn was kind of a joke. When you play Gunn, you're going to get a easy win. So we're going to Saratoga High School, completely different team than a year before. And we balled out, man. We won that game. So towards the end of the game, as we were realizing that we had a stranglehold on that game, we were going to win that matchup, despite all those people that were there. And that gym was packed too. Despite all of them and their well wishes for their team, and Saratoga High School had a really good team too. They had a pretty good team. I think they had a guy named Mike Black. He actually wasn't black. He was a white guy. He was very athletic, good player. I remember guarding him the whole game. They were, telling me that was my assignment. I believe he was a senior. I say, yeah, that's your guy. You know what I'm saying? So you cover Mike Black, and held my own against him. I always been playing against older people my whole life, so it was nothing for me. As the game was winding down, as the clock was approaching 0, we, I believe it was Fred Shepard, was over towards the crowd, the bleachers, over towards the sideline, and I believe it was a girl. I believe it was a young Caucasian girl, white girl, called him the N-word. And you could see Fred's whole demeanor change. And we was like, man, what's going on? And he was like, man, she called me N-word. Somebody said it up there in the crowd. And he was pointing and trying to show us, and we were like, what? And it was a situation that could have went really bad, really fast. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and nothing violent came of it. But I was like, really? She called you the N-word? Like, well, I mean, if you call one of us, you're calling all of us the N-word, first of all. And some people don't understand that. If you're calling one of us, you're calling all of us. It's not a term I use in my vocabulary anymore. Rarely, anyway. And it's my own personal preference. And I understand some people say, well, that word doesn't have power over me, so I'm going to use it regardless. But it's just my personal preference. I don't want to use it. But that was my first introduction to someone using the word as part of hate speech. Okay? I've heard the word many times before then, and I've even used it myself. But that was the first time that I heard that word used as part of hate speech. Hating us because we're black, hating us because we're on the basketball team, hating us because we beat your team and you didn't expect us to win, so call us the N-word. Call us the N-word. Very classy of the, and I'm not bashing people in Saratoga because I know not everyone feels the same way as that young lady did. But days after that, I believe there was an apology issued by the principal of Saratoga High School to our basketball team. If I'm not mistaken, he wrote a letter to us and stated how sorry he was. I can't remember if they what the punishment or whatever was for the deeds, the actions that were done. But that was my first really crash course in racism right there. And it just so happened to be during the basketball game. Had many instances after that. But I'm just going to talk about that one for now. It's, as a black man, sometimes you get desensitized to the fact that people don't like you or people will judge you based upon the melanin in your skin. Me and my friends had, there was a running joke, globally probably, but especially here in the United States, about DWB, right? Get your driver's license. Don't be caught. DWB. Every black person knows what that is. I'm not even gonna say what it is. DWB. So if you're not a black person, Google it. What is DWB? What is DWB? Okay. That's gotten a lot of people caught up over the years. DWB. And it was to the point where, it's kind of like a joke. And it's sad that, we had to make a joke out of something that's very serious. and something that's considered like racial profiling, which is supposed to be illegal. But that's just a way of us coping with things, kind of making light of a serious situation. So the fact that we deal with the potential to be mistreated by law enforcement at their discretion, to be accused of a crime, just like Amy Cooper and the Christian Cooper interaction at the dog park, being falsely accused of a crime because of someone that doesn't agree with what we're saying. The potential that we've committed a crime. Mr. Floyd, supposedly they're saying that he passed a bad check or forged a check or something in the grocery store, and this man ultimately lost his life, which you consider kind of like a white collar crime, and the fact that it's even called white collar should let you know that something's wrong with the justice system. And then you got Ahmaud Arbery, also, who was jogging through the neighborhood, stopped at the little home that was being built. Didn't take anything, didn't have anything in his hands, but was ultimately gunned down in the middle of the street by two overzealous community watchmen trying to do their job, right? Trying to protect their neighborhood from a guy who's jogging away from the scene, jogging away from you, not towards you, until you block the street. There's so much potential for any black man to end up like any one of these scenarios and any one of these stories. So black men are kind of praised for the style and the way we carry ourselves, the swag, the athletic achievements, the singing, the dance moves, and all this type of stuff. But ultimately, man, we go through a lot and we struggle with a lot. So it's your boy, Let Us Pray. I hope you have a blessed and prosperous day, man. I got to end this video. Take care and be blessed.